While My Hero Academia and Little Witch Academia share many similar plot points, it's the different ways they execute these plot points that allow them to stand apart from one another. Todoroki and Diana can be used as perfect examples. Both characters are prodigies of prestigious families who've had to cope with their mother's absence from their lives and grew up sharing the same idol as their rival. However, this is where the two begin to branch off. The two of them had difficulties in life that were the result of the actions of their idols. However, the similarity begins to dissipate, as the responsibility of Shiny Chariot and All Might for these difficulties varied greatly. In Todoroki's case, he was literally spawned as an attempt for his father to surpass All Might, even if it would only be through his son. This obsession led to a terrible childhood for Todoroki and arguably even worse marriage for his mother. All Might really bears no blame for what happened to Todoroki, but nevertheless his superiority to Endeavor helped to create Todoroki's initially hellish existence. Shiny Chariot, however, bears more of the blame for what happened to Diana, even if she was a rather innocent pawn. Because of Shiny Chariot's show, Crux was able to suck the magical ability from much of the audience, which included Diana. Diana had to overcome this handicap on her own path to prodigy. While Shiny Chariot might not have been a willing accomplice to Crux's actions, she was still, nevertheless, an accomplice. Todoroki's and Diana's relationships with their mothers also differ from one another. Diana's mother died when she was still young and left her daughter to carry the family legacy. The absence of her mother and her duty to her family name is what led Diana to become a somewhat cold person. Meanwhile, Todoroki's mother poured boiling water on his face and got sent away to a medical facility to keep her away from the kids. This led Todoroki to harbor an even greater hatred of his father as he blamed him for what happened, and led to him choosing to only use his mother's power. This ironically caused him to become a much colder person. Todoroki and Diana both carry on their mother's legacies, but their actual relationships with them are very different. They are also not the only similar characters to have very important distinctions. All Might and Shiny Chariot are similar characters from the outside. They are both the idol and mentor of the show's main protagonists. They both keep their identity a secret, with the faculty of the school being the only ones privy to it. However, their relationships with their proteges and their reasons for secrecy carry some important distinctions that make them stand in stark contrast to one another. All Might's relationship with Deku is much like Shiny's with Akko, with two important differences. Deku finds out about most of All Might's secrets within the first 3 episodes, crusade against One for All and his own impending death excluded. That means Deku knows the kind of man All Might really is, and perfections and all. Now, Deku originally learned some of these secrets by pure accident, but All Might chose to reveal the rest of them on his own because he saw Deku as worthy despite how little interaction they've had. This is significantly different from Akko's and Shiny Chariot's relationship. Chariot never reveals any of her secrets to Akko without great reluctance, and even then Akko finds out who she really is because of Croax's actions, not Chariot's. Now, she did resolve to tell Akko everything on multiple occasions, but circumstances kept forcing her to put them off. Still, she continued to choose not to tell Akko, despite how close the two of them became. That is the opposite of what All Might did, and for the most part, this is not the only contrast between All Might and Shiny Chariot, as they both keep their identities hidden for different reasons. Chariot ran away from her problems and old failures, becoming an employee at Luna Nova and only letting a select few be privy to her true identity. She did this all for herself. All Might, however, keeps his secret condition to protect the fragile piece he has spent years building. His fellow teachers also keep this a secret for the same reason. Chariot and All Might's reasons for the secrecy quickly branch away from one another and lose any similarities that they might have originally had. The same is true of any aspect of their relationships with their proteges. Deku is a quirkless kid when All Might meets him, but All Might sees potential in him and decides to pass his power down onto him. Deku is now able to participate in the world of superheroes because of All Might. This is different from Chariot, who, without being fully aware, was the one who took Akko's magical ability away from her. Chariot, unlike All Might, took power away from Akko and made her trials on her path to be a witch much more difficult. All Might and Chariot are similar characters on the surface, but they stand on their own as you dig deeper from their motivations and their relationship with students, which has even more differences that I could sort out. And the funny example is that Chariot is a much better teacher to Akko than All Might is to Deku. There is one more important distinction I want to focus on between My Hero Academia and Little Witch Academia, and that would be the statuses of each career in their worlds. In My Hero Academia, over 80% of the world has some type of superpower, and one of the most prestigious roles a person can have is a hero. There is a hero boom in My Hero Academia's current area, and the standards for the most prestigious hero academy in old Japan are rather stringent, with only about 40 students in each grade being able to take part in the actual hero classes. That is the antithesis of the world's most prestigious witch academy in LWA's world, who have to accept any student they can get as they are hurting for funds and have experienced declines in attendance. This decline is also taking part in the rest of the witch world, as magic is fading from the world, with it becoming increasingly difficult to harness. Add this to the fact that technology has largely supplanted the roles of witches, and the future is rather bleak for this particular profession. The contrasting fortunes of witches and heroes help LWA and My Hero Academia to stand out from one another even further.